Jai Sripad Srila Bhakti Pavan Janardan Maharaj ki Jai.
Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yatha Barakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Scha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahaganaraganatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savarutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Paran Sahagana Lalita Shivishakam Vitam Scha Om Jnana Timaranda Sha Gyanachana Shalakaya Shakshuram Militam Yena Tasma Shri Gurave Namah Gurva Bhishtam Supurakam Guruganara Sesha Sambhusitam Chintya Chintya Samasta Vedanipanam Shri Rupa Patanagam Govindam Vidam Ujwalam Bharatanam Bhaktyan Vidam Sundaram Vande Vishwagurun Shah Divyat Bhagavat Prem Navi Bija Pranam Devam Divyatanam Suchandavananam Balar Kachelan Shitam Sandrananda Puram Sadekavaranam Vairagya Vidyamburim Sri Siddhanta Nidhim Subhakti Lasitam Saraswatanam Baram Banditam Shubharam Mareka Sharanam Nyashishwara Shidaram Vanshakapatarubhyasya Kripasindu Bhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Namo Mahamananyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Gauratavishe Namah. We're hearing from Sri Chaitanya Bhagawat by Srila Vrindaban Das Thakur. This translation is done by Sarvabhavana Prabhu. He's a devotee from Bengal. And this is the Madhya-khanda, Chapter 13, the Deliverance of Jagai and Madhai. So we're continuing with this chapter from yesterday. Vishwambar sat down and Nityananda Gadadhar sat on either side of him. In front, facing him, sat the exalted Advaitacharya, around whom sat the rest of the devotees. They were Pundarik Vidyanidhi, Haridas Thakur, Garudai, Ramai, Srivas, Gangadas, Brakeshwara Pandit, Chandrasekhar, and the many other associates of the Lord who all knew the real nature of his activities. They all sat in that assembly with Jagai and Madhai. Jagai and Madhai were so swayed by the spiritual ecstasy generated in the Kirtan and Vaishnava assembly that they began rolling on the ground, manifesting the symptoms of ecstasy, like horripilation, profusion of tears, shivering, etc. Who was able to fathom the unlimited and nectarine pastimes of the Lord? He can convert two rogues into exalted devotees. They were previously atheists and sinners, but now they were like two renowned spiritualists. Whoever has faith in these activities of the Lord will attain the lotus feet of Krishna. The worst degradation is certainly reserved for the non-believers. Jagai and Madhai offered prayers and praise to the Lord. The Lord and the devotees heard them in great happiness. By the will of the Lord, Saraswati Devi, the goddess of learning, appeared upon their tongues. Jagai and Madhai saw both Sri Chaitanya and Sri Nityananda sitting in one place, and they perceived their actual individual spiritual identities. The prayers they offered were so potent that if one hears them, one immediately develops loving attachments to Krishna. They prayed, "All glories to Sri Vishwambar, the Lord of Lords. All glory to Sri Nityananda, who is serving Sri Vishwambar in so many ways. All glory to Sri Chaitanya, who is the preceptor for the congregational chanting of the name of Lord Krishna. All glory to Sri Nityananda, who carries out all of Sri Chaitanya's desires. All glory to the son of Jagannath Mishra. All glory to Sri Nityananda, who has taken complete shelter of Sri Chaitanya. All glory to Sachi Devi's son, who is an ocean of mercy. And all glory to Nityananda, the Lord's constant companion. All glory to you, the Lord of my heart, who is born as the son of a regal scholar, and all glory to Nityananda, who is the embodiment of compassion. All glories to the activities of Lord Chaitanya, and all glories to Lord Nityananda, the most exalted Vaishnava. All glory to the Supreme Lord Sri Chaitanya, who holds the conch, disk, mace, and lotus. All glory to Lord Nityananda, who is non-different from Lord Chaitanya and is glorious as the Avadut. All glory to Lord Gaurachandra, the life and soul of Advaitacharya. All glory to Lord Nityananda, who in his expansion as Anantasesha is glorifying the Lord with his thousands of mouths. All glory to Lord Chaitanya, Gadadhar Pandit's life force and the master of Murari. He is the source of all joy to Haridas, Thakur, and Vasudeva. O Lord, you have in all your previous incarnations delivered innumerable sinful persons. These acts are supremely wonderful, and the whole world sings hymns praising these pastimes. In fact, by delivering two sinful wretches like us, the glories of your previous activities are somewhat reduced. After all, we are insignificant. The story of Ajamil's deliverance is glorious. We seem puny and small next to that. This we say not in useless praise, but with full conviction. Ajamil was the right candidate for your mercy. The Vedas declare that even a killer of millions of Brahmins can attain liberation immediately upon chanting your holy name. It is not at all surprising that Ajamil attained liberation by chanting your name, because such is the transcendental potency of your holy name. You have incarnated especially to expound the highest truth of the Vedas. The authority of the Vedas would be undermined if sinners like us were not delivered. We were inimical towards you, and we even struck your beloved Nityananda, yet you delivered us. One can easily judge the unimaginable difference between your magnanimous act and our highness' low performance. As soon as Ajamil uttered Narayan, 4 messengers of the Lord appeared before him. As for us, when we saw you, we immediately drew blood from your forehead, for which we were able to see your expansion, the expansion of your expansion, your weapon for the incarnation, the holy name. Your weapon for this incarnation, the holy name, and your eternal associates. You had all along kept these wonderful truths a secret, but now these unlimited supreme excellencies have been exposed. Now by your grace, the essence of the Vedas has been clarified, and so Anantasesha may openly and freely sing your truth. Now the hidden storehouse of your transcendental qualities has been opened. The best example of this is your causeless mercy in saving us. Demons like Kamsa were cruel to you, yet you gave them liberation after killing them. You have so many aspects which are most confidential, and none of the kings and warriors could discover even the smallest amount of them when they fought with you at the Swayamvara of Rukmini Devi. Although they could see you face to face, they all met with doom. Previously, devotees would clean themselves in the holy waters of the Ganga, if perchance they even stepped on our shadows. However, now they are touching and mingling with us. O Lord, in every respect, your activities are supramundane, and there's no way to deceive anyone anymore about your transcendental nature. Everyone is now well aware of this. When Gajendra, the king of the elephants, prayed to you, you appreciated his faith and surrender. Therefore, you relieved him of his distressful condition and gave liberation to him. Similarly, it was not by accident that you delivered Putana, the witch, and all the other demons like Agasura, Bakasura, etc. Upon leaving their bodies, they were immediately transported to transcendence. Who can understand your activities unless they approach the subject through the knowledge of the Vedas? The way you have delivered these two most wretched fallen souls was witnessed by the entire creation. All the wretched sinners you have delivered so far had some kind of qualification, but we both had not a single qualification. Yet you have causelessly delivered us because of your unlimitedly merciful nature. Jagai and Madhai finished these prayers with tears of joy streaming down their glowing faces, such is the transcendental potency of the Lord. The assembled Vaishnavas were astounded, having seen everything that had just happened in their very presence, and they clasped their hands in great reverence before the Lord, offering him their prayers. The choice words that were just spoken by these two drunkards in praising you were possible only by your causeless mercy. Who can understand the nature of your inconceivable potencies? You give your mercy by your own sweet will. The Lord replied, these two are not to be considered as drunks or rogues anymore. From now on, they are my servitors. All of you kindly pray for them that they may never leave my devotional service. Whatever offenses they may have committed against any of you, please forgive them and bless them. Hearing Lord Chaitanya's words, Jagai and Madhai threw themselves down at the feet of all the Vaishnava devotees and catching their feet begged for mercy. The devotees were moved by their humility and blessed them. Thus Jagai and Madhai became free from all desires to commit further sinful activities. Lord Chaitanya said, rise, rise, O Jagai and Madhai. You have nothing to worry about anymore now that you are my servitors. Your prayers were all true and are well appreciated. Such mercy and miracles that you have now witnessed and experienced is impossible in your present bodies, but is now made possible only by the mercy of Lord Nityananda. This is an absolute fact. All the Vaishnavas present here, please witness that I am taking upon myself all the sinful actions of these two souls. To make everyone understand that he was accepting the sinful actions of Jagai and Madhai, Lord Chaitanya's body became blackish in complexion. The Lord inquired, why do you all look at me in this manner? How do I look? Advaita Acharya replied, you look like Lord Krishna. Lord Chaitanya began to laugh at Advaita Acharya's words, and all the Vaishnavas became ecstatic and expressed their joy with jubilant sounds. Lord Chaitanya said, begin kirtan, then this black shroud of sin will lift from my body and enter the bodies of those who criticize the devotees of the Lord. The devotees were happy to hear these words, and they began a loud kirtan. Vishwambara and Nityananda began to dance, and the Vaishnavas encircled them in joyful abandonment, singing their praise. Advaita Acharya also began to dance. Lord Chaitanya had advented on his request, and the world was saved because of him alone. Everyone joined in the ecstatic singing and dancing, keeping time with their clapping of hands. In their joy, they forgot their awe and reverence for the Lord, and nobody knows the countless times they bumped into the Lord while dancing. Mother Sachi sat in the inner chamber with her daughter-in-law Vishnu Priya, and seeing everything, felt herself carried away by waves of ecstasy. Everyone was drowned in the flood of happiness of Krishna Prema. Sri Krishna. Even Lakshmi Devi is very careful about touching the Lord's body, but now even the two former drunkards were freely mingling, dancing and touching the Lord. Lord Chaitanya delivered these two, while he pushed the fault finders and offenders of the Vaishnavas down to the worst well. One never advances in spiritual life by finding faults in other Vaishnavas. In fact, only sinful reactions are increased, so certainly give up all your fault finding. After dancing, the Lord sat down, and all the Vaishnavas sat around him. The Vaishnavas were covered in thick layers of dust, yet they were clean and glowing. The Lord again looked like his original beautiful golden self, and smiling he said, do not consider these two persons as being sinners any longer, since I myself have burnt up their sins. My energy has entered them, and I make them act, speak, walk, eat, and when I withdraw my energy, they will leave their bodies behind. The conditioned living entity, being unable to bear much pain, calls out for help upon experiencing a little suffering. But even after the body has been burnt to ashes, the soul wants to continue his association with the body. The conditioned living entity under the influence of his false ego begins to credit himself for all his activities and becomes proud. This is very dangerous. All the activities so far carried out by these two were under the spell of false ego. But now I have stopped all that. From now on, they should be counted among you Vaishnavas without discrimination. All of you, please listen attentively. Anyone who gives these two brothers anything to eat with respect and devotion is, in fact, offering to Lord Krishna the most relishable honey. Even a leaf offered with love to them is nectar to Krishna. If anyone ridicules these two in any way, they will be destroyed because of their offensive attitude. The Vaishnavas were pleased to have Jagai and Madhai join their fold and offered them obeisances. The Lord said, "Let us go to the waters of the Bhagirati Ganga." As they came to the river, they all jumped inside. Constant chanting of Krishna's holy name had made the devotees young in spirit, and now they played in the Jahnavi, Ganga's waters, like little children. Even the sober, older devotees were acting like restless youths. This is truth by the influence of devotional service to Lord Krishna. Just before this was the festivity of Kirtan, and now they were all submerged in the festival of water sports with the Lord. All the barriers of awe and reverence were lowered between the Lord and his devotees, and they played with each other as equals. The Lord splashed water on the devotees, but no one could counter the Lord's attacks. In all the water fights between the Lord and the devotees, the Lord was always the winner, and the devotees fled his ferocious attacks after only a few moments of feeble resistance. At times, Advaitacharya, Gauranga, and Nityananda were engaged in water sports together, and another time Sripad, Haridas, Thakur, and Mukunda played together. In this way, all the devotees took part, including Sri Garbha, Sadashiva, Murari, Shriman, Purushottama, Mukunda, Sanjaya, Buddhimanta Khan, Vidyanidhi, Gangadas, Jagadish, Gopinath, Garuda, Sri Ram, Govinda, Sridhar, Krishnananda, Kashishwar, Jagadananda, Govindananda, Sri Shuklambar, and more. It is impossible to write down all the names of the unlimited list of Sri Chaitanya's devotees. Later, Vedavyas will compile all the names in the Puranas. All the devotees were wholly engrossed in water sports, experiencing the highest spiritual pleasure. Sometimes someone was victorious, and at another time he lost. They all enjoyed playing together with Sri Chaitanya, Gadadhar, Nityananda, and Advaitacharya. Once Nityananda, catching Advaitacharya unaware, splashed water into his eyes. For a while, Advaita could not open his eyes, and so infuriated, he started hurling abuses at Nityananda. He said, "Where did this drunkard come from? He has blinded me. Srivas Pandit has brought this traveling mendicant from somewhere, and he is now moving about as if he is one of us. And that Vishwambar is also associated with him too closely, doing so many things secretly with this suspect traveling mendicant." Nityananda replied, "Do you not feel any shame? What is the use of all this argument? After all, you have lost." Chaitanya intervened, saying, "Once is not sufficient. I will accept a win or loss only if it is repeated 3 times. So once again, Advaitacharya began to fight with Nityananda Prabhu. It was difficult to discern either of them due to their physical similarities. In the water, they seemed like one person in 2 different places. Both played vigorously. Sometimes one won, but then again lost in the next fight. Like this, they were both equally matched. However, once Nityananda again caught Advaita off guard and forcefully splashed water into his eyes. Advaitacharya was hurt and startled and said, "You drunkard, you cannot become a sannyasi just by murdering a Brahmin. You have spent most of your time in the West eating in different people's houses whilst traveling about. In addition, nobody knows anything about your family, your caste, and other such background information. We know nothing of your parentage or your guru. You are simply here eating, sleeping, and moving about, and everyone just calls you Avaduta." Actually, Advaita was eulogizing Lord Nityananda under the pretext of using abusive language. All of Nityananda's followers, along with Nityananda, laughed at the words, understanding the real meaning. However, Advaitacharya continued his acting and was livid with rage. He said, "I will destroy everyone, but do not blame me." The devotees laughed at the show of anger. He was revealing the truth under the guise of being angry. His words only superficially sounded like abuses. If someone does not understand the esoteric meaning of such vociferous fights and takes sides glorifying one and condemning the other, he will certainly be annihilated. Only these fortunate souls who have received the mercy of Lord Nityananda, only those fortunate souls who have received the mercy of Lord Nityananda and Lord Chaitanya can understand the esoteric meanings of the words of Vaishnava devotees. Then after a while, the two stalwarts, Nityananda and Advaita, embraced each other. These two lords are always drunk with the nectar of Krishna Prema. Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In this way, every night after Kirtan, Lord Chaitanya went with all his associates to perform water sports in the Ganga. The ordinary people cannot see such pastimes, but the demigods take great pleasure in witnessing all these sports of the Lord by remaining in their hidden places. They got up from the waters and came up upon the land chanting Lord Hari's name. The Lord garlanded everyone with prasadam flower garlands and applied sandalwood paste upon them, bidding them farewell before they went for their meals. He then again offered Jagai and Madhai to all the Vaishnavas and gave Jagai and Madhai his personal garland. These pastimes of the Lord are eternal and continuous. They become manifest and unmanifest as described in the Veda. The Lord returned home, and after washing his feet, he offered prayers to Tulsi Devi. He sat down to eat, and Mother Sachi brought all the prasadam foodstuffs to his presence. He prayed to all the previous acharyas, offering them prasadam, and then the Lord of the entire cosmic manifestation ate his meal with relish. He cleansed his mouth and went to sit by the door. Mother Sachi looked to her heart's content at the young couple, Vishnupriya and Vishwambar, sitting together. She felt a great ecstasy drowning her body and soul. Who can fully gauge the extent of Mother Sachi's good fortune? Only if Anantasesha will elucidate with his thousands of hoods can one understand. If one utters just the name, I, the short form of Sachi Devi's name, even in material consciousness, that word will free one from all sufferings. Sachi Devi forgot herself as she gazed into her son's beautiful face. Eventually, Vishwambar went to take rest, and simultaneously all the demigods who were secretly present left. Daily, Brahma, Shiva, and other demigods came to serve their Supreme Lord Sri Chaitanya. Without the Lord's grace, one cannot see these personalities. However, the Lord sometimes allows various devotees to perceive their presence. Some days when Vishwambar would be sitting, one of these unseen servants would approach him. The Lord would say, "Remain where you are," and the unseen attendant would immediately go back into seclusion. The unseen demigod visitors were so numerous that there is no need to write the exact figure. The Lord asked his devotees, "Can you not see these heavenly visitors?" The devotees replied with folded hands, "All the three worlds are serving you, my Lord. What power do we possess to see any of them unless you empower us with the vision to see them?" These are the super excellent pastimes of Lord Chaitanya, which are esoteric in nature, and anyone who faithfully hears them attains the highest perfection. One should not doubt the veracity of the statement that all the prominent demigods, like Brahma and Shiva, were daily visitors to Sri Chaitanya's house. Thus Lord Chaitanya delivered Jagai and Madhai very easily, because he is the life and soul of the universe, the most munificent of all incarnations. He will deliver everyone, with the exception of those who are critical of the Vaishnavas and who act against the teachings of the Vedas. If a personality, even of the stature of Lord Shiva, commits an offense against a devotee of the Lord, then according to the Srimad Bhagavatam, he soon meets his end. Although I have committed an offense by insulting you, I know that there is no loss or gain for you due to my insult. You are fixed in your determination, but I have committed an offense. On account of this, even though I may be as strong as Lord Shiva, I shall be vanquished without delay due to my offense at the lotus feet of a Vaishnava. The scriptures are strong in condemning offenses against the Vaishnavas. Even an erudite scholar is not saved by his spiritual readings. Even a person engaged in chanting Lord Krishna's holy name is also not spared punishment if he offends a Vaishnava. The instructions of the Padma Purana are cited here. When followed strictly, they will help one develop Krishna prema. To criticize and find faults in pure devotees of the Lord is the most grievous offense against the holy name. O holy name, how can you bear criticism against your pure devotees through whom your glories have been propagated? You can never tolerate criticism against those who have dedicated their lives in propagating the holy name of the Lord. Such offenders are annihilated. Lord Gaurachandra will certainly deliver anyone who hears with faith and deliverance of these two big sinners. All glory to Sri Gaurachandra, who is the deliverer of the most fallen and demoniac souls. He is the most magnanimous Lord, an ocean of mercy. He sees only one's devotional qualities and rejects one's faults. If anyone can remain alive without rendering devotional service to his lotus feet, he is a great sinner. Only by the previous pious activities is such a life somehow maintained. But what is the value of such a life? In spite of my discrepancies, Lord Chaitanya, please be merciful to me so that I may be allowed to always chant your glories. Lord Chaitanya is my spiritual master, and my Lord Nityananda's Lord and master, Lord Chaitanya is my spiritual master, and my Lord Nityananda's Lord and master, and in every birth I pray that I may become their eternal servitor. The pastimes of Lord Chaitanya are without beginning and without end, and I am compiling these pastimes to glorify him in any manner I can. I offer him and his associates my respectful obeisances, and I pray at their lotus feet that all my offenses may be excused. Lord Sri Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda Prabhu are my life and soul. I, Vrindaban Das, offer this song at their lotus feet. Okay. Hariharaya Nama Krishna Jadavaya Nama
Hriraya Nama Krishna Yadavaya Nama
Jadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Nama
Yadavaya Madhavaya Kesavaya Nama
Gopa Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudan
Gopal Govinda Ram Madhusudan
Giridhari Gopinatha Madana Mohan
Giridhari Gopinatha Madana Mohan
Shri Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Chandra
Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Chandra
Garadhara Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda
Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda
Jai Rupa Sanatha Bhakta Raghunath
Jai Upasanata Bhakta Raghunath
Shri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dasa Raghunath
Shri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dasa Raghunath
Echai Gosai Kori Charana Bandhan
Jai Gosai Puri Charana Bandhan
Jai Te Vignana Shamista Puran
Navite Vignana Savista Puran
Echai Gosai Jar Mui Taradas Tasava Pada Renu Mora Panchagras Tarer Charana Sevi Bhakta Sanibas Tarer Charana Sevi Bhakta Sanibas Janame Janame More Abilas Janame More Abilas Echai Gosai Jabe Braje Koilabas Jai Gosai Jabe Braje Koilabas Radha Krishna Nitya Lila Kori La Prakash Krishna Nitya Lila Kori La Prakash Anande Bolo Hari Bhaja Vrindavan Anande Bolo Hari Bhaja Vrindavan Shri Guru Vaishnava Pade Madhai Aman Shri Guru Vaishnava Pade Madhai Aman Shri Guru Vaishnava Pad Padma Koriyan Shri Guru Vaishnava Pad Padma Koriyan Harinam Sankirtana Kohe Naratamada Nam Sankirtana Kohe Naratamada Shri Guru Vaishnava Pad Padma Koriyan Guru Vaishnava Pad Padma Koriyan Harinam Sankirtana Kohe Naratamada Nam Sankirtana Kohe Naratamada Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Haribo, 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 Nitai Gora Haribo, 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 Nitai Gora Haribo, 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 Nitai Gora Haribo, 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 Haribo. Jai Saparikara Shishi Guru Guranga Gandharvika Giridhari Ju Ki Jai. Tadiya Shri Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Nirmawacharya Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramansa Paravajakacharya Ashtatara Sadashi Shimad Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramansa Paravajakacharya Ashtatara Sadashi Shimad Srila Bhakti Rakak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Bhagavan Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Thakur Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Rupanuga Guru Marga Ki Jai. Namachar Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Shri Rupa Sanatana Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jiva Gopal Bhatta Das Raghunath Shadgo Swami Prabhu Ki Jai. Premsiko Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Shri Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Svaparanya Srila Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananda Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Namadeep Dham Ki Jai. Shri Mayapur Ki Jai. Saparshada Shri Nityananda Prabhu Ki Jai. Saparshada Shriman Mahaprabhu Ki Jai. Shri Kuladvip Ki Jai. Shri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat Ki Jai. Soquel Shri Chaitanya Saraswat Seva Ashram Ki Jai. Ganga Devi Ki Jai. Tulasi Manarani Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Shri Vrindaban Dham Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Go Gopi Govardhan Shyam Kuna Radha Kunda Kalindi Yamuna Ju Ki Jai. Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai. All the assembled devotees Ki Jai. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol.
Vishnu Bhakti Pavan Janardan Maharaj Ki Jai.